Welcome back to the First Row Sports Show, now joined by Taylor Allen. And Taylor, we're going to be talking NBA Finals tonight, Game 1 between the Warriors and Cleveland Cavaliers. But before we get to that, how are you doing and what's going on in your life right now?
It's been a while since I've been on the First Row Sports Show, Darnell. What a great name for a podcast. How did you happen to come up with it?
Funny to say that. I think we actually started this a couple years back.
Way back in the day, yeah?
Yeah, that was probably 6-7 years ago. But I think you actually thought of the name, so I got to give the credit to you there.
Well, much appreciated. But no, things are doing well. Just finished Pre-Con at Red River College, so I'm pretty happy about that. And then in a couple of weeks here, I'll be starting my internship at the Free Press, writing sports. I'll be doing some Gold Eyes and Bombers and whatever else kind of pops up this summer in Winnipeg. So yeah, things are going well over here.
Writing sports, and now you're trying to steal my gig. No, I'm just kidding. Congratulations.
a little bit. Thank you, appreciate it.
Best of luck at the Winnipeg Free Press. So let's get down to Game 1 tonight. Obviously, the Cavaliers and Golden State Warriors. The fourth straight year these two teams are going to square off. It just seems that should forget about the regular season, forget about the conference finals, semis, and quarterfinals. But and LeBron James' eighth straight appearance in the NBA Finals. Do you count him out from winning another NBA championship, despite perhaps being the underdog this year?
Well, this was the year where I really, truly thought his final streak was going to come to an end. This is the worst supporting cast he's had since his first go-round with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think this group's even worse than some of the teammates he had back then. So honestly, Darnell, I thought they were going to lose to Indiana round one, and if you go back and watch those games, they actually got outplayed. I think Indiana finished that 7-game series like plus 40 over Cleveland. So the fact that they even got out of the first round, I thought was kind of a miracle in itself. And then I was like, okay, well, they're taking on the Raptors, and this is the Raptors year, because there's no way they can blow it this year, right? LeBron's got a kind of a weak roster behind them. Toronto's the first-place team in the East. They got the bench mob, Kyle and DeMar doing their thing. Like, this is their year. And sure enough, they drop four straight. So like, oh, my God, okay, well, that's just the Raptors in the playoffs, I guess. And then they roll into Boston, who, even though they're missing their best player, Kyrie, and missing Gordon Hayward as well, you're kind of like, okay, well, this team's got a lot of momentum behind them. These young guys are playing really well. There's no way LeBron can carry this group through this team as well. And sure enough, he does that. So I think LeBron is playing with house money in this finals, because win or lose, the fact that he took this team to the NBA Finals might be, which sounds crazy, but this might be the biggest accomplishment of his incredible NBA career, because Kevin Love missing Game 6 and 7 against Boston. So really, like George Hill is the next best player on that team, and no offense to George Hill, but if he's your second best player, you're probably in trouble. But sure enough, LeBron plays out of his mind, despite being, 33 years old, playing the best basketball of his career, and here they are in the NBA Finals again. So, but back to your question, do I think LeBron has a chance for another ring here? Absolutely not. I think this series is going to be over in 4 or 5 games. I think it's going to be one of the worst NBA Finals of our lifetimes, but I think the story in itself is just LeBron carrying this really crap team to the NBA Finals. So I think it's going to be over for sure in 4 or 5 games. I just can't see them hanging with the Warriors, even if Iguodala is out or in it. I don't think it even matters.
Well, that's got to be a little interesting because, yes, Golden State obviously so good all season long, but they didn't exactly play 100% coming into the NBA Finals. Like, they were forced to Game 7 by the Houston Rockets. And, if Houston, knew how to hold a 15-point plus lead, they should be in the NBA Finals right now. If Chris Paul was in the Game 7 roster, you saw Gordon say that at the end of Game 7, if Paul was there, they'd be in the NBA Finals, and the Golden State Warriors would not. And the good thing for Cleveland, perhaps, is Durant. Kevin Durant, obviously one of the best players in the world in this generation, has not been playing the best to his ability. Yes, he's averaging 29 points, but he's only shooting 47.9%, and we say, whoa, that's ridiculous, because that's incredible, and a 32.8% from the three-point line. Those are, incredible lines for a lot of people, but for Kevin Durant, that's not as good as he can perform. But I think, like you attributed to, if they can't find a way to stop Kevin Durant, I think they might find a way to stop Klay Thompson. Steph Curry, I don't know, he's just incredible, but if they can't find a way to keep Durant under that 29 points a game, and if he's going to shoot any better than 47.9%, Cleveland is going to have immense trouble. But then you look on the other side, how is Golden State going to go about stopping LeBron James, who looks like an absolute freak still? It looks like when he when he's going to get tired. Like, he's already played several, like 18 games coming into this series, and the first couple went to 7, and then that one sweep over Toronto. How does Golden State go about stopping perhaps the best player to ever play the game of basketball?
Well, no, for sure. And that's a good point you brought up about Houston. I mean, I think if Chris Paul was healthy, I like their chances winning that Game 7. I mean, even without him, it was a pretty close game. So, I mean, and it's just kind of funny. It seems like every time the Warriors go on to win the NBA title, one of the teams they happen to play on their run to the finals or in the finals, they're facing some injuries. So, like when they beat Cleveland a couple years ago, they're missing Love and Kyrie. When they took down San Antonio on the way to the finals, they were missing Kawhi. And then sure enough, this year, a couple injuries to Chris Paul, of course, and Kevin Love. I know he's going to be back now, but who knows how truly healthy he is. So even though, yeah, they do have the best roster and the most talent, they have had some luck as well. So that's kind of frustrating if you're not a Golden State fan. But the thing is with Cleveland is LeBron's going to have to play out of his mind, and he's going to play out of his mind. It doesn't matter who on Golden State guards him. He's gonna get his buckets. He's gonna put up his numbers. But the thing with Golden State is, okay, sure, maybe you can shut down Kevin Durant game 1, which you probably won't. But then there's still Klay Thompson. There's still Steph Curry. There's still Draymond. Even though his scoring's kind of down a bit, he's still a very good player as well. So it's kind of like you got to pick your poison, really, because then Steph and Kevin will be the stars for a couple of games, and then boom, Klay Thompson goes nuts for 40 points and hits 10 threes or whatever. So it's just kind of like they're a very frustrating team to game plan around, because it's like there's no way you can shut down all 3 of these guys or 4 of these guys or whatever it may be, because they have so much talent, so much three-point shooting, so much depth. It's like you really got to pick your poison. So again, I'm sure LeBron and company will try their hardest, but I really can't see them having the talent to shut these guys down to win 4 games out of 7 against these guys.
Now, interesting fact from the regular season, when Jay Crowder was with the Cleveland Cavaliers, he obviously guarded Durant. He's known as one of the better defenders in the league, especially on the Cleveland Cavaliers when he was. He guarded him, and then when LeBron James had to guard Durant on 20 possessions in the regular season, he shot 66.7% against LeBron James. So I'm not sure if that's a matchup they want. But let's take a look maybe after this series. Despite who's going to win, you think it's Golden State. I do too. I'd like to see LeBron James win just because of what he's done this season. So many people counted out the Cavaliers, and understandably so. Like, they did not play that great basketball in the regular season, despite how many wins they had. And then they almost lost to the Indiana Pacers and the Boston Celtics without Hayward and Kyrie Irving. Houston looks like they're going to be a forerunner to try and get LeBron James to obviously on the Rockets roster. If Cleveland finds a way to win this series and the NBA championship, does LeBron James sign with the Cavaliers going forward?
That's a very good question, but I think it doesn't matter, because I really don't think there's any chance that they do win this series. For them to win, Kevin Love has to play the best basketball of his career. George Hill has to play the best basketball of his career. Tristan Thompson has to be a rebounding and defending machine. Kyle Korver needs to shoot the lights out. J.R. Smith needs to wake up and also shoot the lights out. So they need so many guys to kind of step up and play out of their mind for at least 4 times out of 7. And I really do not see that happening. So let's say somehow they do pull it off. You never know in sports. Example, Vegas Golden Knights, but let's say they do pull it off. No, I think LeBron would be gone anyways, because I think he would kind of realize, okay, this is a miracle that we somehow won the NBA title, because we're probably about like the 5th best team in the league, and that might even be generous on my part. So I think he's gone, and obviously he's going to have every team in the league be interested in him. But where would I see him going? That's a tough question. I mean, some people are talking about the 76ers, and I think talent-wise that might be his best option, but I kind of feel like him and Ben Simmons, both 2 ball-dominant players, and Ben Simmons isn't a very good shooter yet, so I don't know if that would fit too well. If his sole purpose is just, I'm going to go somewhere where I can take down the Warriors, and obviously the Rockets is his best option. I know they'd have to get creative with some cap space, try to get rid of a guy like Ryan Anderson, who's kind of a waste of cap as he has kind of fallen off these past couple of years. So they'd have to get creative to make that work. Maybe LeBron would take a pay cut. I don't know. But if that was his whole goal, like I said before, was just to beat the Warriors, that's probably his best option. And then, of course, there's the team that everyone talks about every time there's a major free agent, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers. And they have some nice young pieces there and whatnot, but you throw LeBron on that team, just how it is right now, are they good enough to beat the Warriors? I'd say probably not. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, he's not the only big fish on the market this year. I mean, there's going to be Kawhi Leonard. I know San Antonio is rumored to still want to keep him, and obviously because he's an amazing player, even though we've had some kind of a rocky year with him. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone's going to kind of wait to see what LeBron does first before we see what all these other guys do as well, including a Paul George as well. But who knows, maybe LeBron and Paul George will team up and they'll go to a team together and kind of try to start their own super team. But be very interesting to see, that's for sure. But my short answer, as I know this is just rambling for 10 minutes, but I think regardless, this will be the last series we see LeBron James in the Cleveland Cavaliers uniform. And I think this go around, the people of Cleveland and just people around the NBA can't really criticize him as much because it's obvious he's put his whole heart and soul into this team and that the team just wasn't built appropriately around him. They've just lost too many pieces. I know the Kyrie Irving thing wasn't really their fault, but that trade ended up being a nightmare, and now this roster is absolute garbage, and I don't think it's going to be fair to LeBron to stick around and waste the last couple of years of his career with this team. So it's time for him to go, and I think most people would be accepting of that.
Prediction, Game 5, obviously the Warriors are predicted to win in 5 games. Just one last thought here, Taylor. Game 1 tonight, who wins? And I'm assuming you're going to say the Warriors, but by how much?
I'm going to go with the Warriors. It is Game 1, so I think LeBron and company will keep it relatively close, but I'm going to say the Warriors win by, I'm going to say it's going to be 112-98 for the Golden State Warriors.
14 points, that's respectable 14, for a Cavaliers win in 7 games.
Well, maybe we'll see. But yeah, I honestly don't know. I really see maybe one of these games being close. I think the rest, if Golden State wants to, and they're trying the hardest, I think they could blow out all 4 games. But we'll see. It is LeBron James, so you never know.
That's the factor. And if he doesn't play like Jesus, well, it's going to be 4 games. Taylor, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll chat soon.
You bet, man. Take care.
You're listening to the First Row Sports Show.
That'll do it for the First Row Sports Show on the final day of May, and what a show it was to cap off the month. Thank you to my guest Kevin Fogg from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Craig West from the Tri-City Americans, and of course Taylor Allen for popping in today. Don't forget the June monthly draw is up now on the First Row Sports Show Facebook page, so make sure you check it out and stay tuned for more exciting news from the show in the coming weeks. Until next time, have a great one. Make sure you check us out on Facebook. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the First Row Sports Show. Check us out on Twitter at First Row Sports Zero and Facebook. Follow the guys on Twitter at It's the Duffy One.